everybody, welcome back to Northernlion. Plays about AFTERBIRTH Plus. Double-digit wins, potentially. P-O-T-E-N-T-I-A-L-L-Y on the horizon. Pretty bad on the stats. 1 GQC, GKCS. Mostly it's DPS that frightens me here. Having Dead Onion is very nice. It amplifies our damage, so on rooms where we're fighting multiple enemies, it's not so bad. On rooms where we're fighting, I mean, we are going to take teleport, unfortunately. Metronome is just, it's a little too spicy. It's a little too spicy. On rooms where we're fighting a single enemy, we're going to be very annoyed. We're not after a big entree today. We're after the chef's tasting platter. I would like to have one little bite of 15 different dishes if possible. That's how you know you're confident in Isaac. When you can stand... That was like the scene in Men in Black where the spaceship crashes and J and K just stand still and then it stops like a, centimeter away from crushing them. I was willing to let that bullet ride, and we didn't run into too much trouble. Okay, Headless Horseman is actually extremely great. Not very smart to blow myself up there, but I also wanted to make sure that the bomb actually landed. I hate to say that it was worth it, but I do kind of feel like some worth was present. Which I guess is I've become a master of the non-answer. I wouldn't say it was worth it. What I would say is there was enough worth present in order to justify the decision. Okay, don't get hit, please. I mean, you can get hit by a shot. I'd rather not, obviously. But don't get hit by contact damage. I gotta scratch my nose so badly, dude. I finished a long Dark Souls randomizer stream today. It's a Sunday. I picked up my cat, Ruka specifically. Just take me down. And I'm going to be scratching my nose for the rest of the day. And wouldn't you know it? You know? Here we are. The cat gave me a choice. It gave me a choice between meowing and scratching my nose. And I said, you know what? I'll scratch my nose. At least for the Isaac videos, I can do that quietly without disturbing people. Ooh, a little spooky there. Thank you for asking how my weekend was, by the way. That's alright. You don't need to feel bad. You're not Josh on a Monday NLSS. It was pretty good, actually. Which is not abnormal, I suppose. But, Saturday, very productive. But in a good way. Yikes. I'm dead, dude. That happened so fast. Okay, you know what? Restart. I can't believe that. I mean, it was just mere seconds in, and there's 9 wins down the tube. We're pivoting to random runs again. I was about to talk, by the way, about how I like an Eden run because it adds in that extra variety, but it misses the sauce of the random run. I like not knowing where we're going to be on randoms. Life goes on here. The random run is the real sauce. Anyway, no offense, Invicta, who's doing Eden streaks for his streak. Plus, we're looking so fresh already. Anyway, not bent out of shape, honestly, about that one. Just kind of a bit of a cursed start. It's not like we had an amazing run and then used potato peeler one too many times and sealed our own fate. Haha. Weird champs in the chat, please. But no, it was productive, but productive in a good way, you know? Not productive in a, like, oh, I can't relax until I knock out one more Isaac episode sort of way, but productive in the way that's like, we gotta do some dishes. So I did some dishes. Then after I did some dishes, I was like, fridge has a bunch of food that could probably be tossed, to be honest, and at least rearranged to be a little bit better. A little bit better use of space. So I cleaned our fridge. After cleaning the fridge, I was like, oh, there's a bunch of dirty dishes from the stuff that was in the fridge. Did the dishes. Then I was like, oh, my fridge is empty. Let's go get some groceries. Got some groceries. Then I was like, that only took like 2 hours. It's only 2 in the afternoon right now. Maybe I should do some laundry. Did some laundry. It was nice. Would it be nice to not have to do it? I don't know. It's kind of a weird question. I don't know where you're going with that one. I feel I'm on the edge of talking about productivity as bringing meaning to life, and I'm very wary about doing that because we've done it before in the past. But I'm like, I hope that we're exiting. There was a period of time where, and I'm not sore about it, but there was a period of time where on the NLSS, sometimes I felt perhaps a little unfairly maligned as the adult of the group, if that makes sense, for saying things like, you know, I'm trying to eat better, or like, you know, I'm trying to learn some skills, like going to school, etc., or like, you know, trying to eat 3 square meals a day, or trying to keep like a consistent sleep schedule, or etc., etc. And I think a lot of people didn't realize that it was banter to the same extent, and I've been portrayed as this guy who's like, hold on, I think we do want this for sure. I'm portrayed as this guy to some extent that's like, I hate fun because I like to eat vegetables and, you know, get 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep a night whenever possible. It's not true. I like fun. If anything, there have been times in my life where I've had too much fun. I'm really just waiting it out until you guys have enough fun to be on the same level, and then we can share in some activities that we both enjoy. But I would, you know, was my ideal weekend at 19 years of old? 19 years of old? At 19 years of age, you know, doing a bunch of chores and going to bed at a reasonable hour? Probably not, no. But I'm not 19 years old. Now I'm like, you know, older than 19. Hold on. No, we don't want those yet. This run is very good, though. We just need to get there. I'm older than 19, and I've recognized, you know, if we don't do these dishes, if we don't do this laundry, mom's not gonna come over and be like, hey, let me do that for you so I can feel, you know, like I'm helping you out. I gotta do it myself. I worry about this. Worry is a strong word. But, you know, we live in a gamified world to some extent. And gamification, parts of it I'm like very for. I'm trying to think of good examples, but like maybe I'm not actually for as much of it as I thought I was. But I have a really good example of one that I'm not necessarily for, is Duolingo. You know, the language learning app? So I've been learning Korean so I can speak with, you know, my in-laws, basically. After, I know, about time. Hold on, let me take this. We should go back for the Tinted Rock. And it's been going well. Kate bought me a textbook that is in English but has Korean phrases in it. I've been going through that, and also I lived in the country for a bit, so you know, I have like a base knowledge to, and I'm really trying to avoid overselling it at all, because like my Korean is terrible. Like when I speak to Kate, she doesn't understand what I'm saying. But if I go like, you know, 고양이는 배고파, she's like, okay, the cats are hungry. But if I say it fast, she's like, I don't know what you're saying. I forgot we should have been the ranged character. And I thought, so I've been going through this textbook, and the textbook is fine. I don't know, I felt the same way about programming, to be honest. And I think it's a little different than some people go through, but for me, like a programming textbook, no problem. You know, you read it, you can look at the example, you type the example in yourself, you're like, okay, that's how it works, I get it now. I'm a good book learner. I know that, like, the whole learning styles discussion is like debunked in pseudoscience, but I definitely feel that for me, I do learn better from books, whether that means I'm a book learner or whatever the heck you want to call it. That's, you know, really up to you. So I thought, you know, like, it's nice to go through the book, but sometimes you'd rather have something a little bit more interactive, a little bit more fun, like Duolingo or something like that. So I downloaded Duolingo, and I was like, you know, I was answering some questions, but I honestly, I won't act as if it's all gamification that's in this camp. But I honestly just felt kind of patronized after a while. Like it would be like, Koyangi, and I would hit a button that said cat, and then it would be like, Yaja, and I'd hit a button that said woman, because that's what the word means. And then it would be like, great job! 3 in a row. And I was like, okay. I mean, these are just things that I know. I didn't really do a great job. They just happen to be locked in the old cerebrum. Then it would be like, how do you pronounce this character? And I'm like, that's ah. And they're like, amazing! 10 answers in a row. You've earned 14 lingans. And I'm like, what are you... I don't know, maybe it's something wrong with my own psyche. To be honest, I know that positive reinforcement works better than negative reinforcement. I wonder if I might be one of those, like, aberrant learners who's like, positive reinforcement... I'm not saying it doesn't work on me. But when it comes across as, when it comes up too often, it strikes me as being insincere. That's probably a good way to describe it. Thank yous. I prefer, I mean, nobody likes to, like, you know, you get 95% on an exam or something like that, and the first thing the instructor says is like, well, wasn't perfect. You know, you want to be like, yo, you pretty much nailed it. You need a little bit of that, but... For Duolingo, which I have no reason to believe is bad for the record, but... When I was using it, I was like, you're talking to me like you're gonna ask me for money at some point. I think I prefer a language teacher that already has your money and is not afraid to hurt your feelings by telling you that you got something wrong. Instead of Duolingo is like... If you pay me 10 Duo bucks, I'll preserve your streak bonus for another day. But how, you know, I'm not looking down on it, to be honest. However you learn is fine by me, but... I felt this about a few apps in the past as well. I don't know, I think it's... I don't even know if it's like a personal difference, because I feel it might... I don't want to say it's generational, because I think we got enough of that. No, you fool! But do you know what I mean? Is like, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm skeptical of all compliments, because it's just not true. But I've made this analogy before. You know when you're out and like a stranger is like, nice shoes? You're like, oh, thank you, I like them too. You know, you take the compliment at face value. But if someone's out and they're like, nice shoes, and then you look at them and they're holding a clipboard and wearing a vest, you're like, oh no. Nice shoes, by the way. How do you feel about insert humanitarian crisis here? I'm being very careful with the way I phrase this. I'm not saying like, oh, how dare they canvass for charity. But that, the compliment is not a compliment. The compliment is like a way to open up the conversation. I'm waiting for Duolingo to be like, hey, great job. You're amazing. You're the best Korean student we've ever had in our entire lives. Also, would it kill you to just give me $9.99? You'll get ad-free viewing for the rest of your life. You know what it is, and I pay Wikipedia all the time, but it's Wikipedia marketing, where Wikipedia is like, they really go aggressive with the sell, right? For the price of a single cup of coffee. If every viewer of Wikipedia gave us the price of a cup of coffee, we would never have to ask for money again. And I'm like, gee whiz, guys. You're right. I get more than $3 of value out of Wikipedia. I walked on the spikes. Honestly, just kill me. Bring me back as Dark Judas. I've proven I can't handle the responsibility of being the fallen. That being said, it hasn't been bad so far. If you're using Duo, I'd love to hear your results with Duolingo, by the way. Right now, I'm like, I prefer the book, because the book's a lot harder. Like, because a lot of Duolingo is multiple choice, but language is not really multiple choice in the same sense, you know? Like, if you want to say in English, you know, the library is big. You don't see the options that you could choose in front of you, and then you're like, well, some of these aren't even like nouns, so they don't go. And I know that this word means dog, so that's, you know, it's obviously not that. So then you just, I probably didn't want to get anything else anyway. So you just pick like the most relevant ones in a lot of circumstances, right? But in Korean, you gotta know that it's like 도서관은 높아요. Something like that. Anyway, it's a process. And it's gonna take forever. And that's okay. Learn to live with it. Don't hit me. Again, it helps to have a native Korean speaker in the home. Although sometimes what my wife says the answer is and what my book says the answer is are two different things. And I gotta be honest with you, as someone who has taught a language, you always go with the instructor over the book. I'm telling you with 100% authority. Please just let me get like one demon heart out of Maw of the Void. Thank you! That's exactly what I asked for, dude. Cause like the book sometimes it'll teach you like the rule. It'll be like, well, if the verb ending is ing, then what you do is you put the T moves to here, except in situations that are akin to this one, and then you like, you know, you follow the flow chart and you're like, I ate today. And then the instructor's like, oh, it's I ate. And you're like, what about the ED? And you're like, well, it's just the English language is extremely dumb. I'm very sorry about that, but if you ever say I eated, people will, they will think that you don't speak the language very well. You gotta trust the instructor. But anyway, it's a process. It's a process. But that's why, like, I'm kind of like skeptical of gamification, if that makes sense. Like everything that in my life is gamified because it all passes through a San Francisco business at some point. YouTube, Twitch, etc., etc. At some point, all of the money that goes from me to other people or goes from other people to me passes through like a monetization engineer that's like, people like to be complimented. So even like when I finish a stream, I get emails from like 4 different sources that are like, here's your stream report. Great job. Keep grinding. Yo, stream was lit today. Here's your stream report. And I'm always like, I mean, it's, don't get me wrong, to look at analytics and stuff like that, I've shied away from it a lot, but it is really, really important. Not just to like, you know, grow, but honestly to make sure that the stuff you're making is stuff that people actually want to see, which is, you know, part of the reason you're doing this in the first place if you're doing what I do, I assume. But I'm so cynical about it, if that makes sense. But chores are like, because there's this thing, you ever hear of chore wars? I think it's called chore wars. It's like every college house with more than a couple of roommates inevitably tries chore wars once or twice. And what it is like, well, you are like an RPG character, but, you know, if you do the dishes, you get experience points. You can use the experience points to level up and blah, blah, blah. And I think it's like, it's a neat idea, and simultaneously, I think it's poisoning society. I don't want to be like, you know, overly dramatic, and that's definitely way, way over dramatic. If it makes doing the dishes more fun, and makes you do the dishes more frequently than you otherwise would, I think that's sweet. And honestly, if that's the end goal, and you got there, then that's really cool. But what I worry is that, you know, when the gamification is not there, all of a sudden you're like, well, I used to do the dishes for 50 XP. Now we're not even doing chore wars. Why would I do the dishes? But I don't know if that actually happens in practice. You know, like, hold on, this is a great room for us. I'm trying to think of the way that I want to approach this, but sometimes, and this is now where you get into like slightly more controversial nature here. But sometimes I think that the reason that video games are a popular hobby, I mean, games are fun, for sure. And I mean, we're playing them like literally right now. But I think part of the reason they are so ubiquitous is because they kind of hit that human, like Skinner box of like, I'm improving, I'm getting better at something, I'm being rewarded for getting better at something, now I have another challenge in front of me, blah, blah, blah. You know, the kind of thing that you get from games so easily, and it's a little bit harder to glean that from like other stuff in your real life. So I think part of the reasons they're so popular is because it provides like easy access to like simulated goal making, and then also like goal achieving, which is a really nice feeling, right? And by the way, this is a very good time to note for responsibility's sake that I'm not a psychologist. This is just my personal opinion. It's not based on any sort of data or even really like too much anecdotal experience. It's just based on my own opinion. I feel like that room shows up before it lives all the time, but maybe I'm losing it. Anyway, I wonder if, you know, well, I shouldn't say I wonder. What I mean to say is, like, I think about sometimes, like, what if easy access to that sort of feeling in the modern world leads people to look at it as like a little bit of a crutch. You know what I mean? Like when I think of like, you know, my parents doing the dishes, mom and dad were never like, yo, I need to do the dishes so I can get like 30 XP in Chore Wars. They were just like, the dishes are dirty. They gotta, you know, they gotta get done. You know, it wasn't like, oh, if I stay within my macros today, I get to a 9 streak on MyFitnessPal, and then I can unlock a new badge or something like that. It was just like, I want to lose weight or, you know, get fit. At the same time, I'm trying to avoid this old man yells at cloud thing. I'm not saying it was better back then. All I'm saying is I don't know if the gamification has made it better now. If it works for you, please don't let me discourage you. But I will say that sometimes I think it works counter for me. I've learned that for myself, that's not really what drives me. I have like an intrinsic desire to like, you know, lose weight. Lose body fat percentage. Get to a 315-pound squat. Add one more rep to my AMRAP set, etc., etc. It's not like if the app was like, hey, if you do one more squat, you qualify for a fit buck, I would be like, I'm deleting you. I'm deleting you right now. You can keep your blood money. I'm doing this for me. We really have not had a spacebar item this whole run, huh? That's unfathomable in the world of Isaac 2020. Where there's 900 spacebar items. That's outrageous, but also we got a good one at the end. That's just my thoughts on it. So if you, dude, honestly, would I recommend Duolingo? There's no reason for me not to. It's free, and literally by downloading like a 3 megabyte app, in like 15 seconds you could be like, you know, Le Chien Noir. Le Chien Noir. But for long term, I don't know. Maybe I'm a boomer, dude. That's what I'm coming to accept. I think I'm a pen and a pad sort of guy. My first Java class, I had to miss my second week of class because I was going back to my hometown. I brought my textbook with me, worked through the entire textbook in like the week I was gone, and I was like, when I came back and the professor started talking, I was like, this guy is boring. Why are you talking when the book has already done it for you? I don't understand what's your purpose here. Anyway, just my 2 cents. Now, Abs's tools, dude. To be able to like calorie track more easily and, you know, check your heart rate easily, and oh, this is how many steps you've taken today, and estimated caloric output, etc., etc. Like, that stuff as utility is amazing. It's incredible. Trust me, by the way, I understand the irony of perhaps villainizing gamification while playing a video game. I think I just have like a hair trigger for thinking like an app is trying to manipulate me. It's the same reason, I've talked about this before, but it gets me every time. You know, I have actually read How to Win Friends and Influence People, and the one tip that everybody takes away from that book is, in my opinion, terrible. He has like an axiom in the book that's like, a person's name is the sweetest sound to their ears. If you want to get on somebody's good side, you should say their name often. And now that I tell you, I've given you a terrible curse, a basilisk, if you will. You will notice this in any sales situation you find yourself in. The salesperson will be like, hey, welcome to blah, what's your name? And you're like, Ryan. And they're like, oh, hey, Ryan, what's up? I'm Tim. What can I get you today? And I'm like, you know, that's just polite. Man, it really doesn't shoot at all with Ludo, huh? But then throughout, they'll be like, Ryan, what are you really looking for? Ryan, what would you say is more important for a vehicle, comfort or style? And eventually you're like, you said my name 8 times. I don't know who you are. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. That's how I feel when an app is like, make sure to log in to get your daily bonus today and keep your streak going. Anyway, for now, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. It helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya!